We are live on Mohanji official YouTube with Mohanji. Welcoming you, Mohanji, on this
Thank
auspicious
you.
day of Maha Shivaratri.
Om
Welcome.
Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya.
Thank you, Mohanji. We would request you to say a few words to us before we go into the satsang, question answer.
Definitely. You know, I was talking about Shiva in an earlier video. I think most of you would have seen that video. And the main point I was telling is that Shiva is a state. So anybody in that state of stillness can be considered as Shiva. So do not look at Shiva as a unit, an entity. He has to be seen as a universe, much larger, much deeper, unfathomable. That consciousness, which is not bound at all, he does not need any liberation because he's not bound. So that kind of power, that kind of state, that kind of stillness is what we call Shiva. Another aspect is the ocean of milk was being churned by the asuras on one side, the negative forces, negative beings on one side, and devas, the positive beings on the other. They were churning the milk of ocean to get the amrit, the nectar, the celestial nectar. And what does amrit give? Eternity. So this was being churned, and what came out first was a very powerful poison. Very powerful poison which has the capacity to burn all worlds. Just imagine. It has tremendous capacity which can burn all worlds. And when it came out, no devas, no asuras could handle it. They were only busy churning the ocean, but they didn't expect this poison to come out first. Once it came out, they couldn't handle it. None of the beings could handle it, and Shiva took it in his hands and he swallowed it. But he did not swallow it and it went into the stomach. It didn't go inside. It just got saturated at his neck. And that's the way he saved the earth. Not only earth, all the worlds he saved. Later on came nectar, then the rest is history. So always one side the negativities, other side positivity or positive thoughts, they churn our mind all the time. And what comes out usually is what's stored: heavy poison, negative emotions, anger, hatred, jealousy, revenge. All these comes out, and they have the power to burn our world, every aspect of our world. And only a personality or a person or a state which has the power to contain it can save us. That's why we have to have the connection to this kind of frequency, the frequency of Shiva. So poison is everywhere. We can choose to handle the poison, and if Shiva had swallowed the poison, he would have died. If he had spit out the poison, the world would have perished. So it stayed in the neck. Many emotions may come out from inside, but if you spit it out, your world will be destroyed. If you swallow it for a long time, that means if you suppress it, you will be sick. So this is our life. Churning of this milky ocean happens in our life all the time. So it has to be very clearly understood. Very clearly understood. Shiva is a state that we aspire for. We all are trying to be in the state of Shiva. Stillness. all-encompassing acceptance, oneness with truth, Satyam, Shivam, Sundaram, the beauty that emanates from inside when absolute purity stabilizes in us. That's Shiva. That's why Shiva is amazingly beautiful. And Shiva is innocence. When you are fully with yourself, your only expression is unconditional love. When you fully accept yourself, when you're fully settled in yourself, when you see that everything around you is your own expression, all you can have is total acceptance, total love, unconditional love. And that love is without boundaries, beyond all man-made barriers, beyond all the dimensions that we can envisage, and it's a continuous flow of love. This is why I call it, it's a divine romance all the time, because you are fully happy inside, fully contained inside. You have seen your brightness to the greatest potential or the highest brightness. And then you see everything around you having the same vibrance. Nobody is higher, nobody is lower. There are no differences, caste, creed, country, culture, species, gender, absolutely nothing, no differences. There are no differences between lokas, worlds, because all the worlds are frequencies. So when we raise ourselves to the level of that frequency, we become one with Shiva. That's why people call incarnation of Shiva, incarnation of Vishnu, incarnation of Datta. That means we have derived or arrived a frequency which is equal to the frequency or similar to the frequency of those beings who we aspire to or we connect to. The frequencies that we connect to, we become that. Where your mind is parked, that's what you become. Where your body is parked, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, because body is a tool for all these experiences, an instrument that will help us to experience earth. But mind, where it is parked, that becomes you. Hanumanji parked his mind with Rama and he became very powerful. Ashta Siddhis, Navanidhis all came to him. So we are having great potential to be the greatest possibility of not only this existence, but all existence. In all lokas, we have the power. But we limit ourselves with our limited thoughts and identifications. Main identification is what? I am so and so. I am this body. First identification is the limitation, is the frame. Second limitation is the identification of the personality or the personality that we identify with. I am this personality, this name, this personality. Then the third identification is our relations. We identify ourselves in terms of others, in terms of our relations. That limits us. So I am so and so's father or daughter or son or wife or husband or something like that. Something which limits you. We are not any of this. These are all role plays. These are all role plays, we have to understand. And when we actually realize we are not any of this, that's a time when we start seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. Otherwise, it's darkness, because we are completely in dark with our identifications and with our the frames. So we start seeing the truth finally. Then liberation starts, freedom starts. So when we unbind ourselves from all these things, freedom starts to take root. Until then, we don't know freedom. We think that freedom means freedom of the senses to do whatever it likes. No, that's not freedom. That's slavery. They are only operating as per the vasanas, inclinations. That will continue to operate. As long as you have tendencies and inclinations, you will operate that way. That's not freedom. That's binding. Freedom is you are unbound from all things, all people, all relations, even yourself. That's the state of Shiva. I hope this is clear. Now I'll take your questions.
Thank you, Mohanji. Mohanji, today on Maha Shivaratri, we have a very auspicious homa that's happening in the evening, and which very gracefully you have agreed to initiate this homa. And people all over the globe are joining this homa in distant, not physically. Would you please tell us the significance of Maha Shivaratri homa and how we still can all benefit even being in distant?
This particular homa that we are planning today here in Bangalore, a few people have already come here. All of them will be participating and continuing till morning. This is basically, we have programmed it in such a way that this should help all the people who are positively connected to me and their families be protected from all kinds of negativities, plus help to enhance their awareness to the highest possibility in this lifetime. That is the intention, the sankalpa of this homa. But many other factors come in the path. So many different things will happen. But this is particularly for protection and enhancement. These are the two things we need. Please remember, anger, hatred, jealousy, revenge are all our weaknesses. So we are not sponsoring any of this. We will not even look at them. What are we looking at? The highest dimensions of a human existence: compassion, kindness, selflessness, non-violence, or those kind of things. So we're trying to enhance the greatest potential in people so that they can have an effective existence. A lot of people are born here and a lot of people die here. When they are born, people know a child is born. When they die, people know somebody has died. But while living, they do not have faces. We all have faces, and we can have faces. How? By adding value to society continuously. I am trying to empower for that individually. All of you have the power. You have the potential. You all have equal strength. Nobody is higher, nobody is lower. I am not different from you. So what we need to do is to sharpen the Ichha Shakti. There is no weapon in the world more powerful than your Ichha Shakti, willpower, power of will. If you take one decision that every breath I take, I will add value to my society, guaranteed it will happen. It has to happen. The whole universe will configure itself to facilitate that for you. So that's the whole idea. Strengthen you, support you, protect you. That's why we are doing this fire ceremony. The only thing we are requesting, the forces which are greater than us, powerful than us, our limited us, is to help us, protect us. And this is a collaboration. Please remember, we are not here begging to an invisible God saying, please give me something. We are not telling any beings or any unseen, invisible power that we have deficiency. We will not do that. What are we telling? We are intending to do something great on earth. And please be with us. As a team, as a family, we're very powerful. Individually, we could be weak. But as a group, as a family, as a global family, we are infinitely powerful. So we add more strength to us, we add more value to the society. The strength is added not for individual purpose. Individual purpose is continuing anyway. What is individual purpose? Experiencing life, expressing what you are in this world. This is happening. Whether you like it or not, it's happening. You can only express what you are into this world. You cannot express anything else. And experiences are as per what you contain, what you're made up of. So this is happening. But this is not what we are asking for, or this is not what we are recommending to a very powerful source. We say, strengthen us further, we will do more for the world, and we will not be another faceless unit on earth. Instead, we will be a substantial game changer or trendsetter in this world. So this is the whole point.
Thank you, Mohanji. The next question is from one of the participants from this global event that we had for last 5 days. So the question is, dear Mohanji, after 5 days of purification practices and keeping Shiva in our heart, how to maintain this state? How to sustain this communion with consciousness?
Intensify this communion with yourself. And the path is very simple, self-acceptance. So through self-acceptance, forget about all your weaknesses. We all have weaknesses. Forget about all that you expect you to do. Instead, you accept you to do. So expectation sometimes gives you disappointment. Acceptance gives you stability. So this is the shift that you should do or should make within your own life. So what you need to do to intensify the communion is to accept the Shiva within you, your soul, your Atma Tattva. And then you start connecting to every aspect of it. And you start its action in every cell of you. The whole synchronization of various organs coming together to give you the experience of life, plus your personality, which is the projection that you are giving outside of you, and also what you are at your dream state, a state where you are dreaming and it's real for you. Deep sleep, of course, you can't really have awareness of it, so that's okay. But two states you be fully aware and fully connect to. Be you, be totally you. Don't try to become somebody else, because that's not important. You don't try to become Mohanji. Don't try to follow Mohanji, instead follow you. So that you actualize yourself in such a way that you don't see a difference in the world. You can't see anybody apart from you. All are your reflections. And all the emotions are projections from you. And like that, your life, sum total is you, or your expression, or what you are looking for. So this is exactly how you can connect to this consciousness by living it. How can you connect? By living it. Living Shiva, living you. This is the way you can connect to your own consciousness.
Thank you, Mohanji. The next question is, how to differentiate between intuition and ego while taking action?
Intuition is something which would be natural. Ego is what is ego essentially? It's the personality, the skeleton of your personality. That which holds the personality is the ego. Means it relates itself with your possessions and positions, what you are in this life. That is what ego's parameter, ego's boundary. But intuition means you are entering into a state where you are able to see past, present, and future somewhat, even temporarily, in one position, as one unit. So you are able to feel something. This is how it will happen. But I always say, always ascertain, never assume. Many times it's a mental projection. Fear projects itself. Sometimes anxiety projects itself. So because of fear and anxiety, sometimes we refrain from a positive action. So it's probably a good idea that we take our time to understand the whole tapestry and ask yourself, is this real? Is this thought real? Is it coming out of fear? Is it coming out of anxiety? Is it coming out of apprehension, prejudice, or any of the emotions that bind? If the answer is no, then act on it. So if you observe yourself and connect to yourself, for example, body only talks truth. Body always talks truth. Mind is influenced by prejudices, concepts, anger, hatred, jealousy, so many things. Intellect is often confused with the data entry. Somebody gives you positive things, somebody gives you negative. What do we normally connect with? Easily connect with? Negative. Negative is easily people connect to negativity easily. That is why negative news sells well. If people talk bad about people, people accept it more than people talking good about people. This is because we easily connect to gravitational energy. And good news, good things are levitational energy. We don't connect to it because it's almost like earth and air. Air you can't see, but you have to feel. We can't see air, right? But we feel air, and because we are breathing, there is oxygen that's nourishing our body. So we feel air, but we can't see. It's a levitational thing. We don't connect to air so easily, but we do connect to earth easily because it's gross and it's tangible. Likewise, negative aspects or negative news, bad news, news which are of sadness, or things like bad gossips and scandals and stuff, they're all of gravitational nature. People buy it more because it's more visible, more you can feel. But what the problem with that is that you get bound there. The point is that you're bound. But levitational things, the things which elevates you, they are not easy. You got to raise your subtlety to that level where you are able to connect to the frequencies which are of levitational by nature. What is the benefit? You will be less affected by anything around you. This is the thing. Otherwise, you'll be affected by everything. Imagine you are practicing for long and you're progressing quite well. Suddenly somebody says, hey, are you sure this is the practice you want to do? Sometimes you forget that you had progress and then you slip. When I say slip, means you try to change the path. So all that you've done, all the efforts you've taken, all the connection, the frequency that you arrived, sometimes gets lost. It's lost. Then what happens? Then you got to climb up again. So it's like the snake and ladder game that happens in life. You go all the way, then suddenly the snake eats, and then you have to come all the way down. Then again you have to climb up. So this is exactly it. But it's when you meet a master or a person of higher frequency, then it's like ladder. You climb up faster. So this is how it is. Life has to be looked at like the snake and ladder game. It's almost like that. So you got to be very cautious. You should know what data you should enter in your system. It has to be very clearly understood. It's just like we are eating the food. What food should enter your system? That which helps you to stabilize your health, right? It's not some food which will harm you, harm your body. Sometimes we consume such food, fast food, junk food, food which has crime behind it or murder behind it. All those food are not good for health. But there are food which maintains your health, stabilizes you, makes you more effective, makes your experiences of earth more clarified. Such food are good for you. Likewise, when you consume emotions, that is also overconsumption is always dangerous. So we got to understand that all these things have something to do with us, or they play some role in our life. So we got to understand that we have to be very cautious. Means we have to be alert and we have to be aware. And then nobody can touch us. Then we will not be affected by bad news around us. We will not be affected by gossips, scandals, anything, because our focus is very clear. What is our purpose? To detach from the gravitational forces and marry the levitational forces, so that there is a transition and there's an experience of that nature. And how do you know this is working? Less affected by the world around you, the words around you, the emotions around you, and you will be focused on your purpose. More contentment, satisfaction, stability, stillness. This is the point.
Thank you, Mohanji. I think the next question probably is answered by what you said, but I'll just still read. This is also from one of the participants who says, why I don't feel like I'm going forward, even if I practice sadhana every day. Why do I have crisis and from time to time want to quit the spiritual path?
Expectation, that's the answer. One word is expectation. You are putting a target. So that is one word. And second aspect is that, in life, if you take right from your birth till death, or until now, while we are living, right, birth from the state we are now, each experience that we had were unique. What you experience at the age 5, at the age 10, 12, 15, 20, take any age you have been, the experience pattern was unique to that time, that age, that whole system or the environment, and that never got repeated. Like that, when you are looking to achieve a state of liberation, let's say a path of Shiva, the measuring tape, or how do you know you're progressing, is usually on what you're losing. This is not easy to understand. I tell people, what did you gain by connecting to Mohanji? Why are you connected to Mohanji? Why are you following me? And I always tell people, do not tell me it's because of some meditation, some yoga, or some kriya or something like that. It's about the transformation. If transformation is not happening, it's not worth it. Eventually, essentially, you have to follow yourself. It's not another person. What's my job is to show you to yourself. So when you are connecting to yourself, it has to be from the standpoint of acceptance. You can't put a boundary to your practices. You can't put a boundary or a definite expectation about results, because each day is different. Suddenly, sometimes enlightenment can happen. We don't know. I'll give you an example. You heard about Papaji. Papaji was a great master. He was a great Krishna Bhakta, devotee of Lord Krishna. Every time he chants the mantra of Krishna, he was fully getting immersed in it, but he was not having that ultimate experience. And one day, he was in Lahore, the current Pakistan. He was staying there, and one day, one wandering monk came to his house and asked for money or something, some food. So he came out, and he usually asked them, "Can you show me God?" to any monk. So many people would say that whatever you see is God. So that is truth. But he wanted that experience of God, but nobody could give it. So he asked this monk also, "Can you show me God?" So he said, "I can't show you God, but you go to Tiruvannamalai. There is one saint who can show you God." Then he asked, "Who's that saint?" He said, "Ramana Maharshi." And that was it. Then in his mind, it was his urge to go to Tiruvannamalai. And then, fortunately for him, he got a job in Chennai. He came to Chennai, got into the job, got a house, settled his family. Then he rushed to Tiruvannamalai, and he saw Ramana Maharshi. He understood that was the same man who came and invited him in Lahore. And he was so disturbed. He said, "Oh my God, this is a propagandist. He is going around collecting disciples for himself." He was disappointed. So he decided, he asked Ramana Maharshi, "You came to my house and told me to come here. Okay, show me God." Ramana Maharshi didn't even look at him. He just walked away. So he was even more angry, upset, and he decided to go back. He said, "I don't want to be with a propagandist." When he was coming down from the ashram of Ramana Maharshi, a few people asked him, "You just came in. Why are you going back? Stay on. I mean, you can hear his talk." Then he said, "You know what? This person came all the way to Lahore and invited me to come here to show me God. And I don't want to follow anybody who is canvassing people for himself, students or disciples for himself." Then this person said, "My friend, you're totally mistaken. This master has never left this place in the last 35 years at least. How can you say that he came to Lahore?" Then it dawned in Papaji's mind that this man can reach anywhere and do something without actually moving from here. Means he's very powerful. He has that capacity and power to be anywhere at any time and do a work. Means he's a great master. And then, since Ramana Maharshi did not tell him anything, he went back. He went back and he was sitting and chanting and chanting and chanting. And the whole night he chants. All the time he's chanting. And at one point in time, suddenly he heard some knocks at the door. Normally nobody disturbs him. When he opened the door, he saw the apparition of Lord Ram, Sita, and Lakshman. Then they said, we came to see a great devotee of Krishna. We came to bless you. Ever since, he can't remember any names of Krishna. His mind became completely blank, empty, no thoughts. He got panicked. What to do now? He rushed to Ramana Maharshi. He rushed to Tiruvannamalai. He reached early in the morning. When he was climbing up the stairs to Ramana Maharshi's place, Ramana Maharshi was going to take a bath. He was walking away. He heard the commotion of somebody coming, running up. He just turned and looked. Just one glance. Standing there, he got enlightened. It's like the dry wood ready to be lit. One spark caught fire. Let me tell you, if you keep expectations, if you have disappointments about your practices, the road ends there. Instead, if you believe in yourself, if you believe in the path, if you believe in the practice, if you have the willpower to travel all the way, this is an unknown path. Remember, nobody, no guru can guarantee you enlightenment. Nobody. Nobody can tell you, I will show you God. If that's a true guru or a guide or a master, he will never tell that I can show you God. It depends on whether you're ready to see the God or ready to feel, experience God. That's because if mind is ridden by desires, inclinations, tendencies, vasanas, it's not easy to see God. When everything dies down, when desires are gone, mind is empty, thoughts are gone, you are in a state of stillness, then you witness the energy which is omnipresent. You become one with it. You can only merge with it. That's the experience you have. Just like when you identify the energy within and you realize and feel that all that's happening within you are initiated, supported, activated by this energy, we call it self-realization. That's the self we're talking about. It takes time. You cannot put a roadmap because there's no roadmap. It's individual journey. That's why we call it path of pathlessness. Secondly, you cannot keep any agenda. You cannot doubt. Doubt is a very serious thing here. If you doubt your master, if you doubt your path, if you doubt your practice, there is no progress. Road ends there. So please understand all these things. So spiritual practice is a lifetime commitment. It's not just for some time. And if you feel, okay, I'm done with this, now I go to another master. Again, you have to start from the beginning. Many people do not attain anything in life in the path of spirituality because they have no consistency, no continuity, no conviction. These are the reasons. Sometimes they fear. Plus, somebody will say, hey, that was a fake master, or that was a fake path, or that was a fake practice. Somebody will try to put these thoughts in you. Again, you get derailed because we are open to such thoughts. Instead, if you believe, like I'll give you another story. There was a great scholar who spoke about supreme consciousness in many stages, many programs. And there was one illiterate, totally illiterate man serving him, traveling with him. He had no idea. He had no clue. He's not even literate. He can't even read or write. So one day while he was walking with the master, he asked the master, Master, please tell me, every place you go, you are explaining about Parabrahma, supreme consciousness, brighter than a million suns. What is this thing, supreme consciousness? I don't understand what you're talking about. You go everywhere, but you give lectures and everybody appreciates it. People are happy. They come and touch your feet. You're respected. But what is this thing? So he decided, this man, he's foolish guy, he's illiterate. What will I tell him about supreme consciousness? He said, you see that buffalo there? Can you see a buffalo? That's Supreme Consciousness. That's Parabrahma. And this poor guy, he believed because he doesn't know anything else. And he started worshipping the buffalo because he did not know Supreme Consciousness, right? So he started worshipping the buffalo or Supreme Consciousness in the form of the buffalo. And you know what? He realized it. And one day they were walking through a very narrow path. Very narrow means there are two walls and there's hardly space for one person to walk through. And this man is standing behind. He's not crossing over. He's not crossing to the other side. So the master said, "Why are you standing there?" Then he said, "Sir, the Parabrahma cannot come with me. He's bigger than this entrance. He can't join me." Then then the master said, "What are you talking about? What Parabrahma are you talking about? You know that buffalo? You said Parabrahma, that buffalo. He can't come. So I can't go without him because he's following me." And then master realized, you know what? This man attained much more than him. He has only been talking about Parabrahma, but this servant or the one who serves him, who does not have any knowledge about anything, but he realized it. So he said, "Can you show me?" Because he couldn't see. So the disciple said, the servant said, "Touch me and look." Master touched him and looked. He saw a very huge buffalo behind him. Only then he could see. So please understand, it doesn't matter who you are, which religion, which caste, which country, which locality, caste, color, country, culture, nothing matters. It's your conviction. It's your belief, the faith, and consistent, continuous application that gives you that realization. So whenever you feel tired of something, I'm tired of this master, I'm tired of this practice, I'm tired of this this whole spirituality, think again, where else are you going? You may go and jump into another water. You're not going to see any shore. So this has to be very clearly understood if you're walking the path of spirituality. It need not be Shiva. Shiva doesn't care. It need not be Vishnu. Vishnu doesn't care. Jesus, Allah, Buddha, nobody cares about all these things. It's for us. It's for you to get there. So you can choose the right path. You can choose the right master. You can choose the right practices. This is all your choice. Very, very important to understand. And once chosen, that's it. Once chosen, it's like a lifetime thing. You're not going to change it, because if you change it, you're wasting the time. All the time that you wasted will not come back, because life has a time span. Life has limitation, birth till death. You cannot extend it. You can't expand it. Even if you live longer in the state of coma, etc., that's useless. I'm talking about effective times of life. Effective times of life should be used judiciously, purposefully, and with full awareness. And that does not include any kind of deviations, detours, or anything. I mean, you can take detour for the sake of progress, but otherwise you are following one path. To follow that path, if you have to take detour, please do. But for the sake of detour, don't leave the path. I hope this is very clear. If this is not understood, take time, listen to it again, and understand it. This is very, very important. It's definitely not about the guru, not about the path, not about the practice. It's about you. It's you, only you, because you are the one who needs realization, not the object of worship, nor the teacher. You need realization. You need to have stability. You need to attain the highest possibility in a human existence. Nobody else is responsible. If you become angry with the master, or if you scandalize the master, or if you talk bad, or if you're affected by somebody's gossip or doubts, master loses nothing. Path loses nothing. Practice loses nothing. What you lose is all these things. Please understand. And this is exactly how we should look at life, especially when you aspire to be in the consciousness of a bright, great being.
Thank you, Mohanji. I'll take one more question. Somebody asked, in a situation, it is possible that one person surrenders and other family members don't. Does one person's heartfelt surrender overweigh opposing attitudes?
It shouldn't, I think. I think it shouldn't. If your purpose is strong, if your willpower is strong, and you know exactly where you're going, if your roadmap is right, means if you want to attain what you want to attain in this life, how can outside disturbances affect us? I think that would all be considered as excuses, not something very important, I feel. So please understand that when we know where we're going, or when we know where to go, what to achieve, attain, even though we don't know it experientially, if we have the roadmap, I think everything else it cannot be excuses. There can be tests in those levels, because when you want to sit and meditate, somebody is playing music on the other side. So it's a challenge. But then you can learn to meditate even with those music. Like, for example, I can sleep in when lights are on and people are walking. It doesn't disturb me. That's because I learned to sleep amongst all calamities. We can train ourselves to be ourselves, and any way we can practice, we can. So I think there are no excuses in this. Once you choose your path, once you choose the journey, once you have found the path or the method, I think nothing else should affect you. This is my conviction.
Thank you, Mohanji. One more question. With so many responsibilities and hectic lifestyle, it becomes very tiring and unable to do spiritual practices. How can one manage? Is it the mind trap or a real challenge? What to do in either case?
It's a mind trap. It's a habit to think that spirituality is an option. I would say spirituality is a priority. What is spirituality? Spirituality is to connect to the only truth within you, not your mind projected truths, not your desires, nor your inclinations. The truth which runs all this, that's the only truth. That connection, that awareness is spirituality. So I don't think this is an option. When it is an option, you can choose to do the practices or not the practices. But I would say that it's very important to be connected to ourselves. You don't have to connect to me. You don't have to connect to any beings outside, because we are all existing only when you are awake. When you're sleeping, we don't exist. So it doesn't matter. So our existence are all relative. We are relatively connected, means we are connected in relativity. But you are always connected to you. That awareness and understanding should be a constant thing, not just one time, two times, sometimes. It has to be constant. And when I say it's constant, being aware of yourself, if it is constant, it's not an option. It's not an option. It can't be an option. So very, very important. Please understand that we have to accept ourselves in this regard, and all the external activities can wait except God inside. So if this is your priority, you will get there. You will definitely reach there. Otherwise, you won't get there. You will get stuck with the whole confusions of the world outside, and you feel sometimes entertained also, but you would not arrive at the right place. This is very important to understand. Most of the times we are contented with these calamities, and we have some role to play, so we feel important. And sometimes we feel that we have done great in life. Somebody says you are a great personality. Somebody says you're done well in life, or you earn property, wealth, you have great relationships. Then you think, okay, I'm great. But how long, how far? If you have not realized yourself or understood yourself, actually connected to yourself in this lifetime, the whole thing is wasted. So we are only talking about relative existence and the relative kinds of glory, relativity related existence, or all the awards, recognitions, accolades, and the experiences connected to that, means connected to relativity. And we think this is fine, this is final. That's not true. That's not true. We are a complete being each day, each moment. We have a waking state, we have a dream state, we have a deep sleep state. All are equally important. And all these states put together becomes one day, one for this one unit for us, for a person. So in this, what is the most important thing in this whole thing? You as a person. Where are experiences happening within you? Where are you experiencing life? The agonies and ecstasies of life, where are you experiencing within you? So how can you say that knowing you is less important? You need to do manana, contemplation before meditation. You need to connect to some being very powerful, who have realized himself, stability, attain stability, connect to that being. So as I said in the beginning, where you park your mind, you become. So when you park your mind on a stable being, some completely stable and stabilized in his consciousness, then you become same thing. And some people like the dead masters, and we see that in life, right? Why is it so? Because they do not interact with you physically, so you can assume what they said as you like and practice as you like. And sometimes what happens, you get stuck with those practices because we like people who are dead, because they don't really say you are wrong. They are not there to talk to you, correct you, or guide you. They've spoken some things, and we take it in, and we start thinking, okay, I've understood everything. Experientially, have you? If you have not experienced it, you have not understood. An information processed becomes knowledge. Knowledge experienced becomes wisdom. So experience is very important. It's like the food you consume. It goes into the stomach, but how much the body takes, the energy that takes, or the nutrition that the body derives from the food, is the only thing you have. The rest goes as waste. So very important to understand that if you have not experienced whatever we're talking about, the whole exercise is wasted. So when you follow a master who's in the body, it is not easy, because he will correct you. He may hit your ego. He may hit hard on your ego. He may destroy your comfort zones, because many times, like in our education system, what are they teaching us? To reach comfort zones as fast as possible. Means you studied something, immediately get a job. Okay, now I'm comfortable. Then what? Get married. Okay, this is okay. Then house, then children. So all these, one comfort zone, another comfort zone, another comfort zone. This is what we are trained for. But there is you amongst all these. That you, if you do not realize, who's experiencing all this in the waking state, dream state, deep sleep state, then you don't know you. Most people die without knowing themselves. And they call it a great life because they might have earned some wealth and property and they left everything behind. They might have had great relationships, but they all ends at the time of death. Then is it great? But if you have understood yourself, accepted yourself, understood and settled in yourself, you found yourself, and then you're leaving, or when you are expanding further, that means you become a unit, and then you become the universe. There is no death. You attain immortality, eternity. So that's exactly what we are all looking for. That's what we are here for. So having clear understanding about this is very important. What is this whole thing about? Knowing yourself, understanding yourself, experiencing yourself. When you experience yourself, you experience the entire universe. When you experience yourself as a unit, as an atom, then you know the cosmos. This is exactly how it is. So this is very important to understand. I hope this is very clear.
Mohanji. Thank you. One more question that came.
Is this question fully answered, or do you need more clarification? Did I deviate from it?
It is clear to me. Nicolita,
please feel free to guide me to the, if I'm expanding further and you're not understanding, please get me back to track.
Can I ask something?
Yes.
I do Sudarshan Kriya, 11 years. Yes. And I like this, you're breathing in 5 stages. So can I do these 5 breathings if I do Sudarshan Kriya too?
Well, I have no problem. I have no objection, but you need to ask the people who's guiding you in the Sudarshan Kriya, I think, because I have no problem. There's no problem with this.
Okay, thank you. You don't think that's too much for me?
But you try, and if you feel that this is actually not helping you, don't do it. Just feel it, and if you are comfortable, you can continue. Otherwise, you don't have to continue.
I feel
be.
I feel that's very good for me because it's energizing.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, one more question is that this kind of like Shivaratri, this kind of religious or spiritual celebrations in the current state of the world, or the pandemic and everything, is this the right way or the best way to purify ourselves, or are there any other ways that we should actually be doing?
I wouldn't call this a celebration. This is more of an acknowledgement of a frequency. See, today, Shivaratri means we are in a particular frequency level. So we are making use of this time for our own elevation. As I told earlier, all that we do here in the path of spirituality is for actualization, right? We are trying to find ourselves through practices, through bhakti, the devotion, through jnana, the knowledge, through karma yoga, the service path. All these are done so that we can feel ourselves, know ourselves, actualize ourselves. This is the reason. So this day, this particular day, which brings a particular frequency, helps us to find ourselves faster. That's why we are seemingly celebrating. I don't know whether we are celebrating, but we are actually being grateful that we could acknowledge this time, this frequency, so that we could take one more step towards, or a few more steps towards that actualization. So I think that this is very important that we acknowledge this. And that there are see most of the celebrations that we talk about shifts our energy, right? And what energy do we normally have now? You open the television, what do you see? So many people died, and this country is in lockdown. You can't travel, you can't eat food, you have to have certain restrictions. It's not something which you like to hear. So we have all these situations which we can't control. What is happening now in the world, we can't control. And in fact, whatever happened in the world, we could not control anyway. The First World War, Second World War, this war with this invisible virus, we can't see. We are fighting shadows many times, and we are helpless most of the times. So in this context, one thing you can really help is to be you, or find you. So all these are important to find ourselves and use each frequency shifts, each powerful times like Shivaratri, like Ekadashis, all those things to enhance your connection with yourself so that you could have realization of yourself faster. That's probably the right reason for it. So it's much more than a celebration. I think it's more of a realization of a frequency and actualization of what we are, or coming closer to that. Not probably today you will get enlightened, but at least you are coming to that frequency someday, so you can take the walk, and at least we are clear about it. So that's clarity is also very important. See, if you take a journey with no clarity, that's dangerous because you don't know where you're going. So anyway, all these are good. And I would say that you celebrate as much as you can in life. Don't miss any chance. Otherwise the other side is gloom. No celebrations means what? Lethargy, tamas, all those kind of things. I would say that don't miss any chance for celebrating. Everything you celebrate, especially celebrate your birthday in such a way that you realize you are born and you're alive. And also another important thing is that in your birthday, as you celebrate, you give a lot of love and kindness through food or clothing to other people or other beings, so that you feel that your life is worth it. Small children like to get gifts, so we celebrate the birthday, cutting cakes and getting gifts. But take them out and then say, okay, your birthday should be celebrated by the nature. So take them out, give food, give some clothes for the poor, food for hungry. Make them do it. So they will feel that, hey, look here, the whole world is happy because I'm born. So my life is worth it. If you cultivate that, they will never enter into depression in life. Instead, if we teach them to compete, to compare, to fight, to win, they will also, if there could be many expectations, which will lead to disappointments, which will lead to depression or various other things like that. So we can actually make a change. So please celebrate, do celebrate.
Thank you, Mohanji. We have another 7-8 minutes that Mohanji had kindly given us. Anybody else would like to ask any question, please?
5 minutes.
5 minutes.
Yeah, we have a homa coming up, so we have to get ready for that as well.
Sure, Mohanji.
Mohanji, one question. On
Seema,
these
yes.
auspicious days, why is it recommended to be fasting or to have fruits or something light?
The fundamental is concentration. While we are trying to connect to one particular energy or a particular frequency, it needs concentration. Food is one thing which completely takes that thing away. Food. What does food? See, a person who eaten a lot cannot concentrate on anything because the food will occupy the maximum. It completely distracts the person from that track. So I didn't say complete fasting. I said you can eat fruits if you like. So something which is organic, which is nice, which is not non-intrusive, not a cooked food. And so the stomach is light and have a lot of water as much as you want. And then concentrate on the chant so that you can be in that frequency much more effectively. See, Babaji also says one thing very clearly. Before you meditate, before you start contemplation, learn concentration. So concentration is extremely important. And for the sake of concentration, you should have a light belly. It's very important because otherwise, stomach really occupies your time, your energy. It pulls in all the energy to stomach because you've eaten too much. Usually when you eat a lot, you want to sleep. Why? Because you cut off from everything else and the stomach is occupying with the digestion and the process of it. So very, very important that you have a light stomach, light food like fruits or something on such occasion to concentrate on the frequency through chanting. Even mantras are all frequencies. So for that, to sharpen that, it's nice to have fasting, but it's up to you. If you have acidity, if you have stomach issues, you can have light food. I don't say complete fasting. It depends on your health. So it's up to you how you manage it. Probably you can have light food. You can have little food in some gaps or something like that. So it's all up to you.
Yeah. Especially on an Ekadashi day, how do we observe Ekadashi? Because I go on fasting the whole day.
Actually, Ekadashi originally, traditionally, I don't think we can follow it now, is that you stop eating the day before at noontime.
Yes.
Then whole Ekadashi day goes, and then you start eating only after the next day. After doing the offerings or the pujas, then you start eating. So, and that only fruits you start. You don't eat a lot. So it's almost like 48 hours, close to 48 hours.
It's a bit exhausting, Guruji. It's a bit exhausting, yeah.
No, nobody does that now. So nowadays, because we are working, we are busy, we only have a lighter meal or something like that. That's okay. No, I would say don't punish yourself. Don't punish yourself.
No, it's not a punishment, no. I mean, I do enjoy that.
Be kind with your body, listen to your body, and do what is right for the body. Because body never lies. It tells you, I'm hungry. It tells you, I'm hungry, I'm thirsty. So please take care of the body well.
Yeah. And I would just like to add one more thing, Guruji, that the CGB during these days of Shivaratri, just before Shivaratri, was something very wow and very, very, very elevating. And I thank all the acharyas who have, and especially Guruji Mohanji.
No, the credit all goes to them. They did this whole thing.
It was, yes, Guruji, it was very, very, very elevating, I should say.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Shivashri, yes.
Thank you, Mohanji. We're really, really thankful for your time today. We are looking forward to be with you on the Homa. If there is no other question, really wonderful to see you. Thank you.
Wonderful. Yeah, bless you all. Wish you great success in life, great concentration, and may you all have great attainment. Attainment, please remember, as I said in the beginning, that count on what you lost. If you lost your anger, if you lost your this urge to possess more and more, and if you lost all these negative emotions from life and you became more peaceful, more stable with your practices and your connection with this family, you have achieved a lot. So don't count on what you earned in the sense like if you attained enlightenment or whatever. The earning is peace of mind, stability, and also not being affected by anything around you. If your expectations are less, you have attained a lot. If your acceptance level is more, you have attained a lot. So please look at spiritual journey in those guidelines, and don't have too many expectations on anybody outside, and don't have too many expectations on yourself. Instead, accept yourself, flow like water, be flexible, and always shine bright. Be available to the world outside, and also keep helping the helpless as much as you can. Share, and then you always stay, not only become, always stay rich inside. Love you. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya.
Thank you, Mohanji. Om Namah Shivaya.
Om Namah Shivaya.